Hello, everyone. First of all, today's video will be about how to download data from Refinitiv Eikon. You can see Refinitiv Eikon website currently open on my computer. Now, I will be going to the screener app of Eikon, Refinitiv Eikon, and we'll try to download the data. Now, students are not, especially the graduate students, are not understanding well how data should be imported to Stata, especially when you run panel data analysis. Okay, it can be time series analysis, but I'm going to do a video related with the panel data analysis. For this one, I'm going to use an article from Banos Caballero et al. From 2014, and to come up with that how they incorporated the data. So my paper, actually Banos Caballero's papers, which published in 2014, can be seen right now: Working Capital Management, Corporate Finance, and Financial Constraints. Now, these authors are one of the most influential authors in the working capital management, especially the profitability measures and so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to apply all the data over here, especially how did they construct the model and how did they actually assess it. Now, I'm not going to do the GMM model, but I will try to come up with the idea which data they're actually using and how it can be incorporated in Stata. Now, when we look at the abstract over here, okay, we can see that this paper, if we can read it properly, this paper examines the linkage between working capital management and corporate performance for the sample of non-financial UK companies. Now, let me make an explanation. Non-financial UK companies over here. It is important in an analysis of the working capital to not to include non-financial UK companies or non-financial companies in any case, because it is actually financial companies have different accounting templates, so it's not possible to measure working capital management, which over here in this paper they measured the working capital with NTC, and that will be beneficial to understand that. And let's read the rest of it. In contrast to previous studies, the findings provide strong support for an inverted U-shaped relation between investment in working capital and firm performance, which implies the existence of an optimal level of investment in working capital that balances the cost, benefits, maximizes firm value. The results suggest that managers should avoid negative effects on firm performance because of loss of sales and loss of discounts for early payments and additional financing expenses. This paper also analyzes whether the optimal working capital level is sensitive to alternative measures of financial constraints. The findings show that this optimum was lower for the firms likely to be constrained. Now, for this video, I'm not going to look at the financial constraints because that will be a tedious task to construct them. So I will be just going to the methodology, model, and data section, and we are seeing over here, this is the where the model is actually constructed. So it says QIT is equals to beta 0 plus beta 1 multiplied by NTC at the time, at the associated time and for the firm, and NTC squared followed by that size, leverage, growth, and ROA. If we look at what are these values, first of all, QIT is the corporate performance, which they measure with a ratio of some market value of the equity and the book value of the debt divided by book value of the assets. So some of the market value of the equity can be actually found out. Market value of the equity can be actually found out using market capitalization, and also the book value of the debts they're using. That means the total liabilities they have, and they're not considering the market value of the debt, because book value of the debt and market value of the debt are exactly the same thing. At the same time, book value of the assets can be taken. So what they're measuring over here is Tobin skew. With Tobin skew, they can assess the performance in the market. Another measure which we can see over here is the NTC, net trade cycle. So also they're taking NTC squared. So this is net trade cycle is actually proposed by Shin and so on in 1998, which is accounts receivable divided by sales multiplied by 365 plus inventories divided by sales multiplied by 365. Then they are deducting the accounts payable by the sales 365. Most of the working capital papers, if you are measuring working capital, there are several measures. NTC is one of them, one of the most popular ones. CCC, which is the cash conversion cycle, is another one, and also net working capital to total assets ratio. Because they're using this ratio, I will be using this ratio for representation of the data. And the another one is the size. Okay, size, as Banus and Caballero says, it is the natural logarithm of the sales. Natural logarithm of the sales. Why? Because natural logarithm of the sales actually normalize the data a bit, because we are expecting a trend on natural logarithm of the sales. So with the natural logarithm, we can actually remove that issue, so we can actually look in more details. And also, let me go back to the full screen. They're having the leverage, which is the ratio of total debt to total assets, growth opportunities, book of intangible assets to total assets. Now, the growth opportunities have different explanations. For the growth opportunities, sometimes they in the working capital articles they're using percentage change on sales, and sometimes as this paper actually use, book value of the intangible assets to total assets. So why this is important? Why intangible assets to total assets? Because actually, when we look at the long-term assets, okay, we are investing in long-term assets because they can generate profits for us. So book value of intangible assets, okay, is actually having the patents, trademarks, and those kind of stuff, which can actually affect profitability. We are measuring them. So previously, we've seen in the working capital articles that tangibility is important as well. Investing in fixed assets such as buildings, such as equipment, machinery, and the other stuff can also affect how the working capital can be related. So I'm not going to discuss in much detail about the theory of this stuff. So I'm going to work on that. Another one, which is measurement of return on assets. We know that it's the ratio of earnings before interest and taxes over the total assets. So you can use the return on assets after the taxes or before taxes. But the autos over here, they actually incorporate before the taxes. So they're actually approaching in a cash flow basis. Because when you look at the operating cash flow, is actually the operating cash flow is EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, and we are adding depreciation to it minus the taxes. So because of that, they choose this ratio over the net income to total assets. And also they have time dummy variable, okay, and also the unobservable heterogeneity can be measured as well. And the last one is the error, which is the random disturbance. So we're going to work on this this ratio right over here, actually this model right over here. So we are going to go to Eikon, Refinitiv Eikon, and try to download the individual data. So afterwards we can import them to Stata, and it will be easier afterwards. So let me go to Eikon right now. Now, this is the Eikon's landing page. Okay, we have loads of information over here. Indices, index features, volatility indices over here. There are news. Okay, how's the indices are doing currently, and so on and so forth. Loads of things. In order to download the data, first of all, you need to go here to the search or enter a command section. Then you need to write screener. Now, screener is a module within the Refinitiv Eikon. You can actually download the data. Now, I'm not going to actually, as they suggest, I'm not going to work on exactly the same data which they required, because they actually measured this data on different time horizon. So with the data's time horizon with 2001, 2007, I'm going to have a more recent data over there. Now, first of all, if you remember, we went to a screener. This is the landing page of the screener, but we're going to look at the UK non-financial companies. So let's look at the paper again. So the sample comprises the non-financial quoted firms from the United Kingdom for the period of 2001 and 2007, they say. Now, I'm not going to focus on 2001 and 2007 issue, but I will be actually downloading non-financial quoted firms from the United Kingdom. So there are lots of firms over there, but they didn't focus on specific indices. Like there's FTSE 100, okay, there's FTSE 1,500, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to make a limitation over there, especially looking at the which companies we need to take. So for that, I'm going to go over here. There are quick filters over here. So country of headquarters, country of exchange, country of incorporation, company market cap, and average daily values. So I can actually go to here to country of exchange. Now, as I click to add country of exchange, that says include. So I'm going to write United Kingdom over there. So currently in United Kingdom, there's 1,917 companies. So it's going to list me that. Now, under the universe, I'm using public companies. You can choose the private companies, but the problem with the Eikon, the private companies data is not that vast. So I will go with the public limited companies. As you remember from the paper, okay, they actually said that they're using non-financial companies. So because of that, actually, I need to remove the non-financial companies. Now, my sample is 1,917, but I'm going to add the sector name, okay? And I'm going to go here and select exclude. Now I'm going to select the financials. So when I click to this, financial companies will be removed. So after this transaction, I will have 1,110 companies. Now, if you remember, okay, it was something like 1,900 in the previous case. Now we have these companies. Now, going further over here, it listed me the identifier, okay, the company name, the country of exchange is all United Kingdom, TRBC, economic sector name. Now, this TRBC is actually a function that Refinitiv Eikon uses. It identifies the companies according to their economic sector and so on and so forth. So I will be starting with Tobin's Q. So if you remember from our model that we have, QIT is the sum of the market value of the equity and the book value of the debt to total value of the assets. So over here, I need three data: market value of the equity, book value of the debt, and book value of the assets. So I need to download this data. Then I will go to NTC, then I will go to size. I'm not going to download anything further with NTC squared because it can be actually calculated. So size is the total assets, natural logarithm of the total assets. This is the total debt divided by total assets. Growth is the intangibles to total assets, and ROA is the net income before income taxes divided by total assets. So let's go back and download to data. Now, in order to download to data, okay, you can just type in over here, but because we are going to get more data in this case, we can actually click to launch data item library to come up with that. Okay, now this is the data item library. It's grouped under different headings, and these are the recently used ones, okay? And also, you can write new expression, new data block, and new multi-factor rank. So I'm not going to be interested on that. So I'm going to start with the first section, which is the market value of the company. So market value of the company can be measured with market cap or market capitalization. Now, the market cap is the unscaled value unit of securities multiplied by last price for the equity. This is unscaled market capitalization according to the definition. So, I need this data. Now, when I need this data, okay, I want to have at least a couple of years. So currently it has 0 days, 1 day, OCT, and select date. but I want to have a couple of years of data. So thus I need to go and select series. Now when we click over here, there is a trading day, fiscal year, fiscal semi-annual, fiscal half year, and lots of different periods of data. Now I will be using the fiscal year, which is much more appropriate. So I will get 10 years of data. So last 10 years will be treated over there. So I click OK. Now when it downloads this data, it will come up with the market capitalization values. Now what we are having over here, it's generating market capitalization data. Now according to your speed, okay, it can take some time. Now it gives an A for me here. Most likely, okay, Refinitiv Eikon is using another data. So I cannot use at the moment because I'm seeing all NAs. So I need to remove this and try another one. So if I right click to this one, I can edit the data. So this is not what I'm looking for. So market capitalization, I can write the market capitalization. Let's go back. Sometimes it's creating problems. So recently market capitalization. So let's try this one. Company market, sum of market value of all instruments types. Let's include 10 years and let's say fiscal year and click OK. So previously when I used the other one, okay, it didn't give me any results. Now let's see what about this one. Voila, it gives me some values. So market capitalization for fiscal year 0, fiscal year 1, fiscal year 2. So what is this fiscal year 0? The latest available data for that. Now it's fiscal year 0, most likely is 2023 because the fiscal year for 2024 is not given. So fiscal year 1, fiscal year 2, fiscal year 3, and fiscal year 4. Okay, fiscal year -1 and fiscal year -2, that means that is 2022, that is 2021. Now, next data, I need to total debt. So I need to go to and download total debt. So I'm just writing over here, it's giving me total debt outstanding. So I'm selecting it. Now, if you do it like this, it will give you for fiscal year 0. So I want 10 years of data, so right click, edit. Now, when I'm editing, it's coming to the total debt again. Now, I'm going to put the series and fiscal years and 10 years of data as well. Now, if you look at this one, okay, it generates me total debt as well. Now, for some companies, we are seeing 0, 0, zeros. That might be normal or abnormal. We're not going to discuss about if the company has any total debt or not, but we need to look at that in much more detail. And the last one, we need to total assets. So total assets reported can be used over here. Now I'm going to edit this one again. So I'm going to select this one and write 10 again. So what I'm doing, I'm just generating a data which has 10 years of data. Now let's go back and check what other data we need. So I'm going to my EndNote. So we're nearly done with the QIT, okay? Because the corporate profitability or corporate performance, as they say, is the total value of the equity, total book value of the debt, which we downloaded, and book value of the assets. Now, I will come to the NTC. Now, NTC formula is a bit different. Like accounts receivable divided by sales multiplied by 365, inventories divided by sales multiplied by 365 minus accounts payable divided by sales multiplied by 365. Now at Eikon we have a thing which we called the average NTC. So net trade cycle. If you don't have this ratio, you need to calculate by yourself. So average net trade cycle, as we have over here, is the sum of average inventory days, average receivable collection days, minus average payment payables days for the fiscal period. So actually, what we have over here, average net trade cycle days, okay, is exactly this formula that we constructed over here. So we don't have to calculate for it. So we don't have to download accounts receivable divided by sales multiplied by 365, inventory divided by sales multiplied by 365, and minus accounts payable divided by sales multiplied by 365. So we can directly go over there in Refinitiv Eikon. Now, as I said, we need to go and edit it. I'm selecting the days, fiscal year, 10 years, and click OK. Now, what we are seeing over here is that we have an ace. As you can see from here, for this company, an ace. Now, sometimes you might not have the data. It's a problem, okay, if it is occurring again and again. But we can fix that later on. So I'm not going to focus on this. It's not a problem at current or momentarily, but it might be a problem later on. Now let's revisit. So the other one is NTC squared. So if you just take the square of NTC, we'll do that. Okay, now the size is here. Okay, size was measured with natural logarithm of the total assets, which we downloaded already. Now the total debt divided by total assets is the leverage. We already downloaded that one as well. Now we can work with the growth and ROA. Now the growth is the book value of the intangibles to total assets. So what I have to download over here is the intangible assets. So intangibles net. Now I can just select this one. Well, I can edit, then select the 10 years and click OK. Now, so I selected the 10 years, so this is the data I have. Now there's lots of NAs over here, so maybe we want to change something, explicitly use another variable, like it can be tangible assets to total assets. But because we are going to use the exactly the same data, okay, I'm just going to keep it like that. Now the last one that we have is ROA. Now ROA is calculated in this paper, earnings before interest and taxes over the total assets. So I'm going to get earnings before interest and taxes. So I'm going to just write net income over here. Net income. Now, the net income, as you can read from the here, represents the income of after all operating and non-operating income, expense reserves and income taxes, minority interest and extraordinary items. Portfolio calculations is performed. Now, this is after taxes value. This is the mean value. This is the after taxes. Now, net income before taxes is the one we need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this one. Now, if you go and select just ROA data is already over here in the form of percentage, but it uses after taxes for the fiscal period divided by the average total assets. So this is not what I'm looking for, because I'm following the exactly same thing they applied in this paper. So I need to go and select the net income. Okay, net income before taxes. And I'm going to take and extend it for 10 years again. Now, all the data is available because we have the net income over here. Now ROA is actually calculated by earnings before interest and taxes over the total assets, and I have the total assets already. So the next thing is actually download this data. So I have the data, and I'm going to go over here, then export all as values, and it will automatically download my data in the Excel formats. So all of my data is readily available. Now I'm opening the data in Excel. So as you can see, the identifier is here, company name is here, country of exchange, GRBC, company market capitalization, total assets, and everything. So the next thing is actually look at how to download this data. Okay, actually not download, import this data to Stata. On the next video I will be actually doing that. This is the case how we download the data from Eikon to our computer. In the next session, okay, we will be working with this Excel file, and we're going to download, import this data to Stata.